Hello everyone and welcome to the show. We believe risk assets are due for a bounce in September. This should help the S&P and also the Euro stocks. It should see a slight consolidation in the Euro and gold. We believe this rebound could be short-lived and could die out towards end September, and a new risk-off period could materialize in October. We first look at the S&P 500. This is the hourly chart on a FinGraphs platform, or the perspective over the next few weeks. We can see that it is back in a bull, and that this bull still has a potential, possibly into the higher 2400s and into the lower 2500s. So we could possibly see new highs over the next few weeks on the S&P 500. Looking at the daily chart, or the perspective over the next few months, we're still in a bull, but it's a very, very extended bull. We could see that our risk index is in the overbought zone, and that our targets are now pointing to our extended impulsive 2 targets up. They lead us also above 2500, but as these are extended targets, we don't think it will stay up there very long. Now looking at the weekly chart, or the perspective over the next few quarters, we can see that the targets also point to the lower 2500s. This is the perspective over the next few quarters. They may be revised up a bit, but they won't be revised up massively. So until next year, we believe the S&P possibly has perhaps another 5, perhaps another 10% potential, but not more. We could also corroborate this by the fact that our risk index is now overbought, and at some point over the next few quarters is going to initiate a turn. So we're still in a bull on the weekly, we're still in a bull on the daily, but both bulls are quite extended. On the hourly chart, we're back in a bull, resume uptrend, which could lead us up to new highs over the next couple of weeks. Moving on to the Euro stocks, this is the hourly chart. We can see the effect of a slightly weaker Euro this morning. It is back now in an uptrend, and that could lead it up back into 35.20 up to about 35.70 over the next few weeks. The risk index is already overbought, so you could see a slight consolidation this week, but in general the uptrend holds, and we should be up towards the 3rd week, 4th week of September. Looking at the daily chart, we can see that the Euro stocks has been consolidating down since early May, and this is mostly due to the fact that the Euro has been very, very strong. At the moment, this consolidation doesn't seem quite over yet, and we believe the risk index still needs another couple of months to go into the oversold zone and call a reversal. So we would see a correction up during September, but a new period of risk off and retesting into October, when late October, early November, we would expect the Euro stocks to start moving up again in earnest. Looking at the weekly chart, it is still in an uptrend. We've had an intermediate top. This is the consolidation we've seen since May, but the targets towards next year are quite aggressive. They could lead us up to the higher 3,000s, excuse me, and then up to possibly 4,300 over the next few quarters. So the weekly is consolidating, but she shows strong potential towards next year. The daily is still consolidating, could bounce a bit, but should continue to work through its corrective targets into late October. The hourly is in a bounce, and this bounce should continue possibly over the next few weeks. Now moving on to the Euro, which is one of the main drivers of the differential between the S&P 500 and the Euro stocks. The Euro on the hourly has probably finished a leg up. It has reached pretty much its impulsive targets up. Its risk index is in the overbought. So we could see a slight consolidation over the next few weeks. Bear in mind that the Euro is still very, very strong, so we don't expect too much from this consolidation. On the daily chart, we've come a long way since December, but our targets are not quite fulfilled yet. They could actually make it up to 122 over the next couple of months. The risk index is not quite overbought yet, and so we don't believe that this is the turning point to move lower, and that following some retracement into September, there's a further leg up into October. Looking at the weekly, we corroborate the targets with our corrective targets, which bring us up possibly into the low 123s. These are also targets we would expect towards the month of October. So the Euro is still correcting up and is not quite on its resistance yet around 123, so it has a bit more leeway here. The daily doesn't seem quite finished over, it's not yet overbought, and the hourly is showing a situation of an intermediate top which could see a slight consolidation over the next few weeks. To look at risk off, it's also interesting to look at gold. And gold has had a very nice run over the next few weeks. And it has reached its impulsive targets up. We believe that it will now retrace over the next couple of weeks, very similar to what we see on the euro. On the daily chart, however, it is still heading up quite aggressively, and our targets still show strength over the next few months, possibly above 1400. The risk index is slightly overbought, so we could expect a bit of work here over the next few weeks, but in general, we're still positive, possibly until end October. The weekly chart is in a bear, but it doesn't show any targets, so this is quite a neutral situation, probably a transition phase, but at the moment it's too early to confirm that gold is in a long-term uptrend. We believe it could move up towards its envelopes here over the next 2 months and then should retrace again towards the end of the year and early next year. If we summarize the situation, we're still in a bear on gold, and a bear which is now being challenged by the strong uptrend we have seen on the daily. That uptrend possibly has another 1 or 2 months to go and could lead us above 1400. It could see an intermediate correction here with a bit of an overbought situation. And this overbought situation is confirmed by the hourly here, which has pretty much reached its targets and is starting to retrace. Thank you very much, and we wish you a very good week.